Welcome to Rising Frequencies, where we will help you apply esoteric wisdom to your daily life. I'm Andrea Mullaney, and I'm here with Lisa Risingberry. We're doing this show on behalf of the School of the Holy Science, Astrotheology Radio, and Ruth Ramos de Smith. Hello, everyone. It's our second show. Yay! We made it through the first one.
Got through the nerves and we survived.
It's been quite a week. We've had a lot of interesting experiences with energy and strange things happening and
Yes.
kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, I can tell you personally, I felt like I've gone through a couple shifts myself. I felt sick for a couple days, and one day in particular, it was last Friday, and the way that I know something out of the ordinary is happening, and it's not just a cold or something like that, is that I get really dizzy, and I feel like literally I'm standing and I feel like the world is tilting. And I don't normally have vertigo, but this is what happened to me Friday. I'm trying to work. I had so much work to do, and because I still work at my 3D job, and it's a busy job. And here I am trying to work, and I'm like, oh boy, okay, I have to take a break for a minute. And everything just tilted. And when that happens to me, the thing that calms me down the most is going in. Luckily, I am blessed to work from home. After I left Boston and the city and commuting, I moved to the country, Texas Hill Country, and I'm able to work remotely from my home. And it's in a kind of a country location in a pretty little, we have 3 acres of woods around us and lots of critters and stuff. But anyway, so I walk outside and I put my feet on the ground, and I always grab a crystal. The crystals help me. I'm like, grab a crystal. And a very good friend of mine is my crystal supplier. She is an expert in crystals.
Yes, she is.
Yes, her name's Annie. But anyway, and she gave me this beautiful rat quartz crystal, and I held that for dear life, basically, and sat on my porch with my feet on the ground, and just worked through it and just let it flow through me. I can't fight that stuff because it just needs to happen, and I let it move through me. But the thing is, this one lasted way longer than usual, and I talked to Lisa.
Yes.
We actually talked on Skype, and she helped me get through it. She's like, "You don't feel normal."
No, you felt
like, I am really not normal.
You felt so weird. I mean, before we even started talking, and I just kind of we were just typing. I'm like, oh, okay, who took Andrea? What happened to her? What's wrong with you? You just felt so weird, just like really out of balance.
Yes, I
It's
was.
because you were tilting.
Not silly. I was not in balance. Yeah, and I had to lie down for a little while, and finally, it took maybe an hour, more than an hour for me to get through that. And usually, I've had those before, those little tilt moments, but they usually only last max maybe 20 minutes or so, and then I'm okay. But this one lasted 3 times as long as that. And when I looked at my crystal, I have not one new record in it, but 8. There are 8 records in my crystal that appeared from that experience.
Infinity.
Yeah. 8 triangles are now on this quartz crystal that didn't used to be. And I have a ruby that also my friend gave me that I've gone through this process with before, and it's gotten 2 on it, but this one has 8. I'm like, holy cow, something happened. Anyway, so yeah, and electrical things happened that day. Actually, that was a couple days prior when we were recording our show last week.
Mm-hmm.
During the show, my phone just went off on its own. Siri started talking and recorded my voice and was trying to search for whatever I was talking about. And my son's computer would not shut off. We couldn't get it to it wouldn't shut off. It just kept going. It was so overcharged with electricity that we had to unplug it from the wall. And several other things have happened around electricity. Happened last week. I mean, I know we went through the eclipse. That's probably why part of it.
Yeah.
But and you too, Lisa, you've gone through.
Yeah. Well, my first one started the right after we recorded the show, which we recorded it on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And of course, whenever Andrea and I talk on the phone, we create a lot of energy, but it was particularly high the night that we recorded the show. And plus, with all the other energetics, we have more of the ether coming in, more of this new energy, the astral alignments, just everything, the eclipse, us. And so my husband and I, we're just relaxing in our family room, and I guess it was maybe a half hour after we finished talking, and we hear this really loud bang in the kitchen. So he runs in and lets out a hoot and a holler because there was smoke coming from our dishwasher. It was a electrical fire. The circuit board had short circuited, and so he's pushing buttons to try to shut off the dishwasher, and it wouldn't shut off. He opened the door, still wouldn't shut off. So he ran down into the basement, and he had to throw the circuit breaker to shut off the dishwasher finally. And let me tell you, electrical fire stinks so bad. Our house, oh my gosh. And there wasn't a lot of smoke because, I mean, enough came out, but he caught it, fairly quickly. And it was a mess. It just stank so bad. It's still not fixed, by the way. But I'm happy to wash dishes because I just don't want that horrible smell. So that was the first thing. And I'm always spiritual. There's a reason for everything. So the first thing I'm thinking is energetics. What the heck happened? Because after my walk-in, I would fry electricity left and right. I would do rituals and meditations, and I would shut down the electricity. I would fry iPods. I was just hell on wheels until I learned how to ground myself and calm my energy down, and it was okay. And then I started thinking, no, 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 you're just being silly. It was your dishwasher. It's a 3D thing. There's nothing to this. So I kind of talked myself out of it, which I normally don't do, and didn't think anything of it. Was just frustrated that I needed to get a new dishwasher, and my house stunk. So the next day, I am reading some things on Facebook, and one of my friends had the same issue, except her dishwasher did not catch on fire, but she had an electrical issue with her dishwasher. And I'm like, okay, everything happens for a reason. Perhaps this is an energetic event, So I'm open now. I'm looking for answers. And then I had a friend of mine send me a Facebook message, and she was concerned because that night she was asleep and was hearing like electricity popping in her sleep in her head when she was lucid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. What happened? I just want to know. I'm so nosy. And then I followed the blog, and I am going to say her name because her experiences are just so in line with mine. Is Lisa Gauze, and she, poor thing, bless her, has been going through electrical problems at her house, and her guides actually did tell her that it was an energetic event, and it was really right where she lives in Arizona. It kind of centered on her, and she has been having internet issues, you name it. You can read her Facebook page, but she basically, her energy kind of fried a line outside of her house or something another. I think wasn't there another one that happened?
there were a
Your
ton of
your
power
Yeah, oh
outages.
yes. New York
on,
City, the same day, the New York City subway was shut down for a while for electrical problems.
yep.
My friend
And then there was a
Murray.
water main break that actually closed the tunnel, Holland Tunnel, for a little while too, a few days after that.
Hmm.
I mean, one thing after another, kind of.
And then another friend of ours said there were power outages in Canada same day, and so for me to find out about all these things all within the 24 hours was just kind of mind blowing. But you
Yeah.
also had a stove turn on by itself, didn't you?
That was yesterday.
Wasn't that
Yes, more
yesterday?
stuff
Yeah.
happened. I also had a dream, um, Saturday night or Sunday, that and it repeated over and over that October 13th is a very important day, which was Monday. It's a very important day. It's a very important day. I don't know why, but just there was a huge CME that erupted from the sun, and that's going to be hitting us soon. I mean, there's just so much going on right now energetically. And
Hmm.
yes, yesterday, um, you had a power pole erupt in or
Oh my
catch
gosh,
on fire spontaneously in your neighborhood.
I
And
complete
meanwhile,
yes, I completely forgot about that. That was yesterday while we were talking on Skype. Yeah, it happened down my street, but we got lucky, and because it was just like eight houses down, but where the line hits, they were out of power, but I wasn't.
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
walked out, and we had ordered in for dinner last night, and my husband's like, did you know the stove was on high? The one of the burners was on high. He's like, none of us turned it on. I mean, none
Yeah,
of us cooked, and none of us turned it on. It was just on high by itself. And I tried. I'm like, maybe one of the cats did it because I was
yeah.
like, yeah. But
A cooking
no, I mean
kitty.
that's not easy. I
No,
was trying to like just rub against it and turn it on. That like I don't know how the heck that happened.
I know.
But the thing is, it's not. It's overloads. It's extra power. It's boom, like extra energy is coming in.
Mhm.
That's
Oh,
where
well,
everything
yeah.
seems to be.
I can see it. And
Yeah.
I of course, stupid me. It's this fifth element. It's ether. It's more prana, more chi than we've ever seen on this planet. Of course, it's going to affect the electricity. But I'm a right brain person. I'm not so much a science person. I'm getting much better. But I didn't think with all this energy I see coming in, and it's coming in so freaking fast that that it would make such a big fuss, but it is evidently.
Yeah, it's actually impacting um, the 3D electrics, electricity, which is pretty
Yes,
neat. That means it
yes,
has to
and
be
it's
very
not solar
powerful
flares. It's not.
and high
It's
vibrating to
yeah.
do that.
It's just this new energy that is coming in, and it's. I mean, yes, we get solar flares, but what I see and others see, and it's I've wrote about it in my blog. It's the color black with some purple mixed in. It's ether. It's more AETHER. More good stuff of that.
Well, the highest vibrating light that we can perceive is violet. So that's, it's purple and black. Then that's
Yes.
probably, violet light is very,
Right.
and it just means the distance. It means it's photons moving faster
Mhm.
because the wavelengths are shorter,
Right.
and boom, and that has so much more power. It's like exponentially more powerful than, lower
Yes.
vibrating energy and lower level light.
Yes.
It's
And
not that
that's
level
that's
light.
that's what Tesla used, just to go off on a little tangent. That's what he was tapping into to power everything for free. So of
And that
course it's
knocks the
going to affect
electrons
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah.
It will knock electrons out. I was just, okay, this is totally nerdy, but I went off
Go
on a
ahead.
little
Feel
tangent
feel free
today.
to nerd out. That's what I always say. Okay, okay, Andrea, nerd out. She's good at
Um,
it.
yeah, I was reading what is it, the ABCs of um, physics or quantum physics. That's what I was reading. It was really good. I was reading it online in between work and saving giant files and all this stuff because that takes a while when you work remotely. And yeah, it said that very high vibrating, fast light waves can actually, and particles moving quickly can actually bump electrons out of nuclei,
Hmm.
And so, it
Wow.
does impact the energetic. Sorry, that's so nerdy, but anyway.
No, no, that's good
And
because there's a
and
lot of people that aren't very sciencey, and of course the engineers that are listening are going, "Duh, we knew that."
yeah, but what's so cool is it seems like science is finally catching up. I
Hmm.
mean, might actually once science catches up, then then more humans will come on board with
Yes, which is
and
frustrating because
understanding
the masses
our
feel
reality.
the masses feel the left brain
Yeah.
people are the intelligent ones, and those of us that are balanced. But I'm very balanced, but I still rely more on my right brain, and that's you're not really considered as intelligent as those that are left brain, but that's changing. That's
Yes,
changing.
yes. You have to reach the middle. Left and right brain have to come together.
Well, yeah, you have to balance because you need both. You
Exactly.
can't have one without the other.
Nope.
And speaking of balancing, I kind of want to recap what we were discussing last week with the root chakra, with the anger and the fear and the frustration. And we did such a good job of talking about it. And talking and reading books is, very good ways to learn. But for me, experience has been my greatest teacher. So I kind of want to share that with the listening audience. I have an actual inner alchemy exercise that we're going to do, and I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to go step by step, and we're going to do inner alchemy on ourselves. And then we're going to take that energy and we're going to put it out to the collective, specifically the matrix. So when I was thinking about doing this, I wanted it related, of course, to the root chakra. I was trying to think what's the biggest thing right now in the news that people are in arms about, and not as many people are fearing it now, but the ones that are asleep are very afraid of this, and there are some spiritual people that are still dealing with fear and anger around this issue, and it's the Ebola virus. Um, so I can't think of anything better for us to do some actual psychic energy work within ourselves, within the collective, right into the matrix than the Ebola virus. Some history on this that some people might not know, but this virus was created. I don't know if it was created physically in the early 90s or if it was just created in thought form, but there are Simpson videos that actually show an episode with there's an epidemic and it says Ebola right there. So this has been around for a while. But all things start, whether it's a virus or a new idea, it all starts in the astral and in the spirit realms. If you can't think it, you can't create it. The powers that be or the powers that were really back in the old timeline, and I'm not going into fear porn because this is not currently happening, but it did. They could create viruses and epidemics and just pandemonium. They created their chaos in the spiritual realm, and then it would manifest to us in the physical. So what we're going to do, this was created on an old timeline. It is still present in this timeline. It doesn't have the punch that it did, but it's still there. Why? I don't know. But I feel that it needs to change. It needs to shift. And since we're the ones that are in control, we are shifting the planet. We are the ascended masters. That's what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to kick some butt. But before we get into that, I need to walk you through some preliminary exercises. And the first thing we need to talk about is anger and fear. Last week we really covered how anger goes right into the liver, and if you're unbalanced in anger, it's going to make you sick. If you're unbalanced in fear, it goes into your kidneys, and that makes you sick. However, there is a good side to anger, and there's a good side to fear. If you study the Kabbalion, which is an amazing ancient text, you learn that everything has polarities. We live in polarity. So Energy is just energy. It's a frequency, it's a wave. If you have too much of the anger wave, it makes you sick. If you have too little, it makes you airheaded and you don't want to do anything to change. When you have that little spark of anger that a lot of the new age community will tell you to ignore, you won't you won't want to change anything. You won't want to make an improvement in the political system. You won't want to talk to people and help people wake up. Because it's that little spark of anger that kind of says, Houston, we have a problem here. This should not be happening. And then you don't wallow in it. You don't let it make you sick and just become hostile and a angry, like an angry protester. You use that anger to be the change that you want to see in the world. It gets you in gear and it makes you want to do something about it.
Yes, you take action with anger. Anger is an action emotion, which is a good thing about anger. It's up from apathy, it's higher vibrating
Mm-hmm.
than apathy and, just not doing anything about it, and depression and all that stuff. Anger is the next step up that can
Yeah.
actually motivate you to take action and that's what you need to do to show the universe what you really want.
Right. And if you don't sit in it, um, you know, it helps and you don't feel like a victim.
Exactly.
If you sit in it for too long, it's woe is me, they're out to get me, and I can't do anything except sit in fear. And that's when the fear comes in, when you get too far down into the anger. So, now, what? I don't think there's anyone listening to this call that's happy about the Ebola virus. It just makes you frustrated. So we're going to take that spark and we're gonna use it for good. We're gonna use it for service to help ourselves, and we're gonna use it to help the collective and the matrix. But the first thing, the first thing I'm gonna say before I go any further is search within yourself and make sure that this energy exercise is appropriate for you. Connect to your guides. You might want to do that right now. As we're talking, if you resonate with it, wonderful. If you don't, that's fine. If you just want to listen to me talk through it and you want to play this back, this show will be on YouTube. You don't have to do it tonight. You don't have to do it this month. Whenever it feels comfortable. Okay? And you need to use your imagination. Imagination is the creation of magic. That's what the ancients did. That's why imagination is really just the teachers and the organized religion, organized public school system. They really try to take imagination out of children. They didn't do it with me because I saw what people would say imaginary people. They were real people. I saw ghosts all the time. So to me, my imagination was my greatest tool. But most kids, unfortunately, they don't have the imagination because it's taken from them. And as adults, it's hard to get back. But that's your creative energy. So tonight, you're gonna be a kid. Children. If you read the Bible, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Children will inherit the kingdom of God, and the reason why it says that is because you have to have the innocence of a child. A child has an imagination. A child knows no limits.
Mm-hmm.
A
Child is open to
completely
receive.
open, completely
Yep.
open. They see the fairies, they play with them, they can
Yeah.
create, and it's their imagination. So you're going to be a kid right now, but you're going to be doing high level energy work. So
Yes, they've resisted the programming.
yeah,
Program.
how cool is that? All right. So the first thing we need to do is the Ebola virus is covered in fear and anger with a negative polarity, because that's the ones that created it let's face it, that's what they wanted. That's how they control. It's how they're trying. They are on their last legs. They're on their way out, but by gosh, they're giving it a fine shot. We're in the final act, and it's getting,
Yeah.
I'm kind of yawning. It's like, okay, what are you going to do next? But this Ebola seems to be, a dead bug trying to just to resuscitate itself. So we're going to spray some Raid on it. First thing you need to do is just kind of center yourself and close your eyes and you're going to imagine a recycle bin. Okay. You're going to picture the Ebola virus, and you, if you're a science person, you can picture the virus. You can picture the word, however you want to do. It's completely up to you. You're the creator. You're in charge. You're going to pick up the Ebola virus. You're going to take it and you're going to place it in the top of the recycle bin. And the recycle bin it could be the sun. It could be anything you want. It could be a blue light, gold light, white light. Go crazy with it. You're the creator. And you're going to drop this Ebola virus into the top of the recycle bin. And it's going to clean it. It's going to remove all the negative anger and fear that the government thinks we're so stupid to believe. And it's going to clean it off. It's going to come out the bottom. And you're just left with a program. It's called the Ebola program. There is no emotion attached to it. You're now just neutral. You got to shift into neutrality. You can't have any anger right now at this virus, and you can't have any fear, because all it is it's a program, and we're going to fix it. We are fighting a war with energy right now. Who controls it? Who directs it? And we want the upper hand. And we have the upper hand because we vibrate higher than they do. Everything is created at the energetic level first. So that's what we just did. We went in to the energetic level and we cleaned it. So it's just a word. It is just a program. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull that transmuted energy that's neutral. It's clean as a whistle, and you're going to center into your heart. And I'm just going to give you a couple seconds. You're going to feel neutral, calm, neutral. No fear. It's not going to get you. It's a program. You're in control. You're the ascended master. And you're going to sit with that. Now, if you feel calm, you should feel peaceful. Complete neutrality. Neutrality is your power source. Neutrality from the heart is a rocket. Anger is like a little firecracker. Right now, you have a rocket of neutrality in your heart. And we're going to project that. Now that we've transmuted it within ourselves, we're going to project that to the matrix. Now, this next step that you can take, I'm going to leave that up to you. You're the practitioner of this energy. Depending on how far you are on your spiritual journey, how open your heart is, it will determine how far you can take this. But if you so desire, we're going to take that rocket and you're going to add the highest vibration on the planet, and that is unconditional love. Okay? So, if you can feel unconditional love right now in your heart, let it go. You're just going to let that grow, and it's going to grow, and it's going to grow. And while it's growing, you're going to picture the Matrix. If you've seen the movie The Matrix, you can use that. You can picture waves. It doesn't matter. Just your will and your intention is what is important. And you want to visualize the Matrix. Now we're going to take our will and intention and we're going to use it like a laser pointer. You're just going to directly identify this program, which is all it is. It's just an Ebola program. You're going to identify that in the Matrix. Right now, if you're visual and if you can feel it, that program is starving because we cut off its life force. When we took it through the recycle bin and you removed the negative polarity of anger and fear, it can't live. it's starving, it's suffocating, it's on its last legs as an energetic system, as a program. What we're going to do now is we're basically going to short circuit it. And when we short circuit it, it's like a computer. You're going to change the programming. And unconditional love is the energy that does that. So while you have that energetic unconditional love in your heart, you're going to project that out. You can use your hands, you can use your breath, any method you want, but you're going to project it at that program that exists in the matrix right now. So just take it and just you're gonna blast the shit out of it, because right now you have a nuclear bomb of unconditional love that's going right into that Ebola virus program. Okay? Once you've done that, it's short circuiting. It's like and it's gonna reprogram itself. We could have watch the news because we can have multiple results here. And when you do energy work like this, it continues. It continues until it's done. Gaia and the universe knows how much to use and whether it was appropriate and how long to use it, and then they're in charge of stopping it. So the cool thing with doing this work, and I do this kind of work all the time, your higher self takes over. You spark it, it goes out, the universe connects to it, and it says thank you very much. You're the ones we've been waiting for, and I can take this energy, and I'm gonna take it from here. Thank you. So that's what we did. We can have different results. Best case scenario, we can just see this disappear from the news. When I look at timelines right now, maybe tomorrow morning it might look a little bit different. I'm not really seeing that one so much. I feel that this was created by bad people, but I feel as of right now we are going to take control of this program and use it for good. It could be used to wake up people to the corruption of the government. It's a tough way to wake up, when you finally realize, hey, the government's trying to kill me. What the heck is up with that? That's a very difficult way to wake up. That's kind of like ripping off the Band-Aid. And those of us that are awake, now that we've removed the anger and the fear from this program, you can talk to people about this from a calm state. And when you talk to them, you're planting neutral seeds in them. You're not planting anger, you're not planting fear, you're being informative. This is what it is, and here's the information, and that will grow inside of them. So it could be used to wake up people. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But what I just took you through is one example of how you can actually take the knowledge of ancient inner alchemy that most of us have been reading about for so long, and you were an alchemist. You changed your polarity, you've raised your vibration. Oh my gosh, you've changed your whole perception. And not only that, you did it for a personal level, but when you sent it out into the collective, the 100th monkey theory kicks in. So it's going to pass through the collective. And if it passes as fast as I see energy moving nowadays, it's going to go pretty quickly. So we're living proof by what we just did that we're the ones that are going to shift this planet.
That's right.
We are waking up. We are raising our vibration, and we will achieve our goal, because there is nothing stopping us from doing this work. Failure is not an option. So no longer can you say, I just don't know what to do, because you can do this for any situation in your life. You can do it for any political situation. So that was fun.
Yes. I would like to add about the neutral thing and my search into
Yeah.
physics.
Yeah, because quantum physics is cool. I'm trying to learn more about it.
You see, when you pull anything in duality that's polarized, especially polarized to the negative, and positive too, because it can easily flip to the other side. Um, when you pull anything into neutrality, into your heart space, you've got control of it
Hmm.
because it no longer, there's no equal and opposite reaction.
Hmm.
You're beyond that rule. You've risen above it. You're in a new vibration where equal and opposite reaction doesn't matter. Like your neighbor comes over and wants to punch you, and you're like, oh, punch him back, or you punch your neighbor, they punch you back, or whatever. No,
Right.
when you move it into neutrality, you're beyond that. You're just not engaging.
Hmm.
And with a like talking about bombs and nuclear bombs, that actually starts from neutrons, and neutrons are the particle that is neither positively nor negatively charged. It's neutral. And those neutrons are what, when they start moving, they're the starting point for everything that happens in a nuclear reactor. And that's the power.
Hmm.
Balance is the most powerful thing in a in a
Yeah.
duality environment, because it's not in the environment. You're above the environment, and so and that takes place in your heart. So when
Hmm.
you're able to pull something that's negatively polarized into your heart, you can pretty much, it just becomes undone. You transmute it in.
Yes. And the reason why it's in the heart, again, I'm always going back to the Kabbalion, because you have three chakras above your heart, you have three chakras below your heart. It's as
Yeah.
above. We are living, breathing as above, so below. Principle of correspondence. We're walking and breathing principles of correspondence. And when you merge ego and soul, it's done in your heart. Ego, spirit comes down, soul comes up and emerges in your heart. So there is no excuse right now. It doesn't matter who screwed up this matrix. I don't care if you want to blame the Greys, the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the Elohim. I know all of those stories. If it was done in the first 26,000 year galactic year, we're entering into the fifth, so you can just imagine in 4 galactic years how much could have happened. Every single galactic year, we pulled farther away from source. So we have been manipulated, we have been kicked, we have been beaten, we have, you name it, it has happened to us. Drop it. Who cares? It's an old timeline. We
Mm-hmm.
are now starting a new Genesis. We're starting it in a new age. It's over and we're beginning again.
And you can only
Gaia,
create now. You can only create
you
now.
can
You
only
cannot
create now.
create from the past or from
No.
the future. You
And
can
there's
only
still
concentrate on
there's
now.
still
That's
so
all
much
that
debate
matters.
about what they did to us. Who did it? It doesn't matter anymore. We are in a new age, and I just want people to understand that and to take their power and start creating with this new energy that's coming in, because
Yes.
it's coming whether you want it or not. Do you want to take advantage of it, or do you want to discuss the Anunnaki? I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm in the new, and I'm taking control. Um,
That's right.
Gaia doesn't care. Gaia is moving on. She has moved on. She's in the process of giving birth. And women, you can attest to this if you've had children and you're in the last stages of labor. The last thing you want is someone yapping in your ear about the past. You just don't want to hear it. And that's where Gaia is. She's in a new timeline. But it is humanity with our own, and I'm guilty, I'm not doing it anymore, but I was, in your own little personal bubble of reality that is connected to the collective consciousness. Within yourself, you can keep these old timelines open, and you can keep beating down the path of the Elohim and the Luciferian rebellion, which all those things did happen. I mean, they absolutely happen, but they aren't happening now, and we have risen above them, and we need to just leave it in the dust. We need to rise from the ashes of that dust and be the phoenix and be the eagle and not be a little worm living in the past.
That's
because that's
right.
not who we are.
We
So
are
I,
extremely powerful creator beings, and we create in each moment that we're living. And when you're conscious and you know you know what you are, then who it doesn't matter one whit what you
I
went
know.
through. It's like, woohoo, I did it. Yay, okay,
Yes.
big deal.
And those stories were important. Well, I feel they were important, and I learned all of them, um,
Me too.
and lived them. And all those stories live within us,
Yeah.
and they served their purpose. They served us well. We grew a lot out of darkness, and did it get worse than it was supposed to be here? Yes, yes, it did. Did we overcome it? Hell yeah, we overcame it. It got really, really bad here. We were manipulated way more than we should have been. The duality was way worse, but we overcame it, and now we're continuing on that path. And the only way you're going to continue on that path personally and equal the vibration of Gaia is you got to drop those old stories. They are not our identity anymore as a collective. We are creating a new identity, we're creating a new reality. And that served us. Just like if you get mad at your, I don't care, your husband, you always want to transmute that, because that anger no longer serves you. As a collective, each of us have to transmute those collective energies. Even, I'm done with it. However, I still have that same collective energy coming through me, and I'm transmuting like crazy every single day.
Me too.
Because I
I
because
transmute when I'm sleeping.
yeah, because
Crazy dreams.
I don't agree to it.
Right.
I don't agree to it. And I don't want other people to suffer. And I don't want other people to have those old timelines in them. And what we just did, we were in service to others tonight by attacking the energetics of the Ebola virus, so that people who are asleep can maybe breathe a little easier. Maybe they can read the news that they think is their Bible, and maybe they won't be as scared. Maybe they won't take it as seriously, and maybe they won't be as angry. Who knows? I've always had success with this kind of work, and I feel I feel like we made a big difference.
Hey,
Yeah,
I do too.
I do. I do. And I think after all that energy flowing, we should probably take a break.
Yay, play some music.
Yeah, we
We
do.
actually have music this
We
night.
actually have music. Hoping it works.
Yeah.
We just figured this out yesterday. Um, but I didn't pick out the music. Andrea did. So I'm going to
Yes,
let her
I
talk
did.
about that.
All right, our first song, and these are new artists that and they allowed us to download these songs for free.
Yes,
But
free
they're
is a good
good.
thing.
Free is great. Okay, so the first one is dun dun. Maybe it's a virus by Julia Haltigan, Haltigan. She's a folk singer and bluesy singer from New York. And the second song is Sweet by Tamara Laurel, Laurel. Yeah, and she's an indie singer, and yeah, they're both very talented ladies. So there, we picked them. So
All
enjoy.
right. All right. So hopefully our music segment will go uninterrupted. So enjoy.
How many times have I been told? I don't know now, it's personal. I don't know when I lost my mind. I feel 6 foot tall, but they say I look small. My head does ache and I feel weak. Maybe it's a virus. How much I shake, I'm a little earthquake. I'm bending at the knees, sir, catch me please. Don't wanna sleep, my heart's still beating, and maybe it's a virus. And it started when I first saw you. Your glassy eyes of chartreuse blue torn my heart, now it don't thump right. Hopeless, whoa. You've caged me in with bars so thick, a hoping and praying don't get you sick. Now come on, boys, and follow me, because maybe it's a virus. Oh, temperature is rising underneath my tongue, and I think I might be growing. Yeah, temperature is rising. You can't stop what has begun, and now my spots are showing, and I'm seeing stars. Maybe it's a virus. I'm sipping on my syrup so strong, like whiskey shots at a heart attack. No doctors, please, no doctors, please. I just think it's a virus. And it started when I first saw you. Your glassy eyes of chartreuse blue, you torn my heart, now it don't thump right. Hopeless, whoa. The sweet caress of dripping sweat behind my knees. Oh, what a tease. How wonderful this nauseous feeling. Maybe it's a virus.
Screaming, and I've been crawling after you. I've been saying that I don't need it, but damn it, I still do. But you don't know all the lengths I would go, and I can't help but think how sweet it'd be. You've been folding, and you've been dark blue, and you've been steady all this time. You've been acting so apathetic, but damn it, I'm on fire. And I don't know where you sleep, where you go, so I can't help but think how sweet it'd be. I'm your wilting rose, I'll get myself undressed. I'll close my eyes until I love you a little less. I will. Oh, I believe how sweet it would be. I'll show you. I've been patient and I've been worthy, and I'll let you bring me down. You're my sunset, my masterpiece, slipping through my fingers now.
Okay.
All right. Did the music play?
I hope so.
If not, people just had a nice little break.
Exactly.
That is fun.
It showed on mine that it was playing, and it actually went from one song to the next. I didn't have
Awesome.
to do any technical stuff, which is a good thing since I'm not the technical one and I'm the recorder. Oh boy. Okay, well, what we're going to do now is Andrew's going to take the lead and we're going to dive into our chakra number 6, which is the sacral chakra. And my little nickname for the sacral chakra is the sexy chakra because it's all about well, it's about more, but it is about your sexual energies, which people uh, don't know how to use correctly. And that's not really their fault. As humanity, we've been vibrating at such a low level, at such a low time, for such a long time that information has been kept secret. Many of the ancient practices, and luckily, it's still around. And don't get angry because when you hear it's been kept secret, it's been kept secret because a lot of these ancient practices are basically taking a gun and putting it into the hands of a child because sexual energy is so strong and so powerful when it's balanced. You can create a realm, you can create a universe with it. It's crazy what you can do with a very well balanced sexual energy when all your other centers are open and both sides of your lunar and your solar channels are open and you're flowing really nicely. It's incredible. As you personally vibrate higher, this information will appear to you. You'll find someone who knows it, or an article will plop into your lap, or you'll find the right website because it's only hermetically sealed. The information is out there, it's just hermetically sealed, which means it's energetically sealed. So
Yep.
that it's all back. We have it all. You just have to tune into it, including the Library of Alexandria. And, even as a child, when I heard that was burned, I wanted to cry because I just wanted to know everything about everything that had to do with spiritual and metaphysical, and I couldn't believe that this beautiful library had been burned. It wasn't until in the last several years, as I was raising my own vibration, that my vibration, your vibration, everyone's vibration, is a library card. And how high you vibrate determines let's just say, what floor in the Akashic records, which is ether energy, that you can access. Now, of course, the Library of Alexandria, that information is very high vibratory, but it's not hidden from us. If you raise your vibration, you can tap into that knowledge and you can have it. Is it easier to have the paper version? Heck yes. However, it's not gone. We can still tune into it. And I bet it may appear physically
Yeah,
because
nothing really ever goes away.
yes, I know. As we move to another
Transform.
as we move to another dimension, because it's still there. I mean, now this is just my bourgeois personal opinion on energy as I see it. So this is strictly my opinion. As we move into a higher frequency, another dimension, that energy is there. Okay, the Library of Alexandria exists where we are going. Who's to say when we fully make this shift and we step into that next dimension that doesn't reappear? Because the physical right now vibrates lower than the information. So you can't remanifest that to appear in our physical level. It's just too high vibratory. The gap is too wide. But where we're going, the gap is a lot thinner and will equal that, if not surpass the frequency of that knowledge. So who's to say we won't get that library back?
That's right. I agree. And I have a weird thing to add too.
Oh,
I always
cool.
add my weird
Weird
stuff.
stuff. Gotta have the weird stuff.
Um, so I know this is true. We create with sound.
Hmm.
That is the mechanism of creation. Light is the form that creation takes. Light then will can solidify into matter.
Hmm.
But sound is really the method of creation.
Well, of course.
Yes,
In Genesis, in the beginning, there was the
there was the
word.
word, and that's exactly. And I have read that sound waves, they're still here from eons ago, and from
Hmm.
that who was it? Was it Benjamin Franklin or someone picked up old sound waves from frequencies in the air and was able to pick up these old creative sound waves from a
Huh.
long time ago. Yes. Yeah, so actually the mechanism for create sound forms light and
Hmm.
shapes light. And light is like your clay, but sound is what is the force,
Hmm.
is the mechanism that is the creative force for us in this universe.
Yeah, it all started with the logos, the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, so that's why speaking is so important. And when we speak these affirmations that we're going to go through for the sacral chakra, and we went through for the root chakra, and communication is so important.
Hmm.
And that's why it's so important for the powers that were to control the news media, not
Mm.
just for
Oh,
it's
yes.
for the spoken word. They're trying to.
And my favorite magical word is abracadabra.
Yes.
What does that mean? I speak, therefore I
I speak,
create.
therefore I create.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to say that all the time as a kid, and I didn't know. I had a little wand. I used to go around saying abracadabra and everything, and I was creating. I had no idea what that word actually meant. I believe it was Santos. Like that's where I learned that from.
Santos Bonacci, by the
Hmm.
way, is and Lisa refers to Santos. That's who it is. Bonacci
Hmm.
Bonacci, and Lisa Gawlis, Gawlas. Lisa Gawlis. Highly recommend that lovely woman.
Hmm.
And yeah, that she's the one we talked about earlier in the show, who has wonderful experiences. Um, but
And
yes,
she's brave enough to write about them, which I just recently started to do, and it's not easily. But any of you that are having very high level spiritual experiences, you're having lucid dreams, astral projections, inner knowings, please start writing about them,
yeah.
because there's power in putting your written word on the physical internet, because somehow it connects to the global consciousness through the 100th monkey theory, and I have found that out. So that's another thing you can do. It doesn't matter if anyone reads it. Once it's out there and it's on the internet, it takes a mind of its own. So
Hmm.
and journaling too, but I really recommend putting it on the internet. You
Yes, I
know,
agree.
step out of
That's
your shell. I know who you are. No, no more hiding. If I could do it, trust me, anyone can do it.
That's right.
And
We're like never gonna
Andrea knows.
here we are. Wee. Oh boy. So, all right. Are we ready for this sacral chakra?
Yeah.
I I am the walking, talking example of the screwed up sacral chakra, or I was. Now
No, you
I'm
fixed it.
I've come a long way. Yes. So the sacral chakra. Yes, it's the second one up, sixth one down, second one up from your root. And it is 2 finger lengths below your navel, which is right about, for a female, it's about where your ovaries are. It governs your reproductive organs, and it's related to emotions, your sexual libido, desire, and your creative energy, because the element is water, so it's waters of creation. Then very potent. The color is orange. The musical note is D as in dog. D. The sense that it governs is taste, and it is all about asking for what you want in life. And one of the reasons your sacral chakra can become blocked is when you're young. So many kids are taught that it's wrong to ask for what you want in life. And so as you ask and you're told no, 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 no. And I know because I'm a mom, I tell my son no. I have to figure out how to fix that.
Well, what parent doesn't do that? I mean, as long as it's balanced, my goodness.
That's right. Anyway, but it begins to become blocked when you're trained that it's wrong to ask for what you want. And then you go into a state of resistance about asking for what you want, asking for your desires. So you feel it's wrong to get what you want. And eventually you can forget that you have any desires at all. And you can instead focus on, okay, here's me, excessive people pleasing. Instead of tending to your own desires, you're not inward focused, you're way too outward focused, and you're trying to please everyone and never reaching happiness yourself. And you become blocked about receiving. You don't understand why stuff isn't coming to you. And it's because you feel like you don't deserve it. So when you feel like you don't deserve it, remember how powerful and creative we are, especially with the sacral chakra, because that's our a big creative center for us. When you feel from your sacral that you don't deserve, then you don't deserve. Period. You're creating your reality. And so you get blocked about receiving the things that you want. And it also diminishes your ability to give to others, because when in our system of duality, you give, you receive what you give what you receive. And so you're in this kind of like catch-22 situation where you're excessively people pleasing, trying to make other people happy, but they're just not happy, and they're not able to give you what you want, the appreciation that you want. And that's really because you have a blocked sacral chakra. And so what you need to do is go into yourself and fix that issue with yourself. It's not with the others outside of you. You've got to fix that inside of you, as with everything.
Yes.
Really, it's all about going back inside and fixing the issues. And then poof, once the inside is corrected, the outside manifests beautifully. That's just the way it goes. It's just, the law of correspondence, and it's as without, so within, all of those things. So anyway, the sacral chakra corresponds with emotions, hormone balance, creativity, your reproductive organs, and your moods. A lot of female things, but males too. This applies to everyone. And when you have an imbalance in your sacral chakra, you can feel unworthy or worthless, not good enough, not lovable. You feel like you're just poo, you're not worth being loved. You could feel guilty about things. Boy, this is me. Or it was not me anymore. You can have a hormone imbalance. You might even have estrogen dominance instead, as opposed to not having enough estrogen in your system. You can have mood swings, lack of joy. You can be emotional or overly sensitive, walking on eggshells all the time. You could have miscarriages, difficulty conceiving a child. I had 2 miscarriages in 2008. Or you can have this programmed into you that says, I must be strong. I cannot be vulnerable. Like I have to take care of everyone. I'm responsible for all these folks. And then I have felt that way as well. In my household, saying from personal experience, but I work full time. My husband's ill. My father now lives with us too, and I have a little boy, and I'm the only one that works. So feel like,
Yeah.
I have a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. I also have four cats and a dog, and I feed the animals outside. I'm like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
but I, but I have gotten to where I'm finally balancing it. But for a long time, I would just be like so run down after the end of each day, where I felt totally overwhelmed with responsibility, that everything was on my shoulders. I would feel guilty if I didn't take care of someone. I would have dreams where I would have 50 little pets, and I would forget to feed one, or feed. Oh, I forgot to feed the rabbits. Oh my God, I didn't realize I had rabbits, but apparently I have rabbits in this room.
Oh.
I forgot to feed them. I better feed them. I used to have nightmares like that, where I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and that I was so overwhelmed. But that is a sacral chakra imbalance. Um, Excessive people pleasing, always having to be liked. Yeah, yeah, I had that issue too. I have learned the hard way by having my name dragged through the mud and all kinds of stuff said about me. But that was so
Yeah, baby.
fabulous, actually. Yeah, I know, Lisa too. Both of us had that happen to us
In public.
in public. Yes, by people we cared about very much. We cared about, and this was in front of them. Was told. Anyway, we were spoken of, and it wasn't true things. So, but it really toughened me up, and I think it toughened Lisa up too, and made us
Mm.
a little more resilient because really, would we ever be able to go on a show
No.
and being on YouTube and checking
No.
comments and seeing anyone negative? You know what I mean?
No.
That sucks, man.
No. And
Oh
that,
my God, someone said something bad.
oh my
They don't like
gosh.
me.
Yes, that experience you're speaking of totally changed me. It was the worst thing for me to go through, as far as, being made to look like an idiot in public and on a website, etc. But it was the best thing. Oh my gosh, because I had no choice to get over people pleasing and caring what other people thought. I cried on the phone to Andrea for hours, when I was the first one hit with this, and I just emoted. I cried until I really couldn't talk. It was really sad, but it was so good. I swore I would never be the same. I swore it. That was it for me. I was never going to blog. I was never going to do anything. I was never going to talk to anybody. I was going to live on my shell, everything else. And I didn't stay there. I just was like, I'm not going to be kicked to the curb. And I just dug down into the bottom of my soul and said, I'm going to balance this. And I can't, I still don't know how I did it. I honestly, I think because the rest of me was balanced, I still don't know how I did it. I don't care what other people think now. And yeah, I would never be here on this radio show. I'm still very timid about checking comments, but I just, I just don't care. And it's so freeing.
Yes.
The chains just dropped off of both of us. So
Absolutely. You just have to be willing. And my Facebook account I mean, I'm friends with all my work people too, and all the people in my industry. So they're seeing all this, the shows being posted.
oh, I know. Well,
I
my
just
high
tell 'em,
school
I'm like,
friends, my
yeah,
college
that's my
friends.
spirituality.
I was the late fairy. I was one of those people, which I'm not now, that I was in high school, and they are seeing what I'm doing now. I don't care. Unfriend,
Exactly. I don't either.
unfriend
But
me.
what's so funny is so many of them. Like, I went to a trade show in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I had several people come up to me and ask me spiritual questions. Really, and I
I
had some
know.
talks with some Native Americans.
It's because you don't care what other people think anymore.
I know.
You're not people pleasing anymore.
Yeah, it was neat. And even some of them are listening to the show. So I'm like, oh, cool,
Awesome.
whatever. Yeah, that's what you have to do, because when you're speaking truth, the matrix and the programming is so overwhelming, and trying to keep people asleep and program people to view that anyone that has any, inkling of the truth that's going to get out there, they're crazy people. That's crazy talk. So so you have to know that you're going to face that when you come out and start talking about it and about your truth, just the way it goes. I'm so proud of David Icke. When he did it so long ago, he was a pretty well-known figure, and he went out and started. He really took a lot of.
Oh, God
He
bless
took
him.
he took some for the team, man. He really did.
Mm.
So yes, God bless him. And Laura Eisenhower too.
Yes.
She's taken a lot. We even when
She's my idol.
yeah,
She is. She's
I
my
think
friend.
she's mine
She's
too.
my friend. She's also, I just deep bow to her. Oh,
Yeah, when you stand up and you're well known and you actually face all the ridicule and face the people who are still sleeping and or who are just plain offended by the information that you're
mhm.
bringing out because they're just not quite there yet. Or that you could also have attackers. I'm sure some of the more famous people have trolls and stuff who are
Mhm.
were focused at them to hush them up.
Yes, Laura does. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she does for sure. Anyway, okay, sacral. Sorry. Uh, but yes, this means a lot. So,
Well, there's also
uh,
the other side of the programming that starts with women, from the time
okay.
they pick up their first Barbie doll.
Oh, that's right. Absolutely.
It's the sexual programming.
That's right. Yeah, you have to be pretty. You have to wear makeup. I still wear makeup. Oh my gosh. And I'm embarrassed and I will go into this because this is stems from my mother, from her mother and her mother before her, which I actually have been working to transmute all the way up my family line and my female side, blah, because that's where it all stems from. Yeah, and it's been quite a challenge for me. But once I realized what it was, I was kind of like, oh. Once you
Well,
realize what it is, it's so much
were
easier.
you like told as a child that you needed to be attractive or sexy or a certain way?
Yeah, let's see. My mother was taught by her mother that, well, let's see. My grandmother was a child during the Great Depression, and our family used to have, they were from Tupelo, Mississippi, and they used to be quite upper class. They had, a lot of money that my, actually my great grandfather made a very good living, and he had money invested in the stock market and he lost it all. Boom, in 1929 when the stock market crashed, and they dropped from being very well to do to lower middle class, just kind of scrounging by. They were
Mhm.
like genteel Southerners who were pretending like they had money, but they had nothing.
Oh, yeah, my family too.
Yeah, so it everything hinged on the daughters, and they all had daughters and not sons. So it all hinged on them marrying well. And my great grandmother, name's Mimi, she um, was the less attractive or viewed to be the less attractive of the two daughters. And so she ended up staying with the family and then finally got married when she was older, even though she was beautiful, but her sister was just gorgeous. Same thing happened with my own grandmother. My grandmother's drop dead gorgeous, but her sister was blonde and even prettier. But instead of helping the family, she left with her husband. He was like an executive for where did he work? A big Magnavox. He was an executive for Magnavox. He was actually worked with the Illuminati, believe it or not.
Wow.
And they checked his family checked her bloodline before they would allow her to marry him. And they found that we were related to the on my mother's side, the Diabys or something in
Mhm.
England, And so we had some royal blood, and so she was allowed to marry him because of that. But they took her. I mean, she left. She's like, I'm out of here, and didn't help the family anymore. She went with his family and lived with them. And the daughter that was left ended up marrying a guy in the military who went to World War II, and ended up being a mess. And she was older when she married, so she just got, she was just lucky to get this man. And he was abusive. He was an alcoholic. He abused the children. She had 4 children by him, one of whom was my mother. And she wasn't allowed to. She was part of a choir in church. She was very, very religious. And the choir director would not allow any of the girls in the choir to date. She was like in her 20s, and she wasn't allowed to date. And so she didn't even get married until she was in her late 20s. She didn't have her first child till she was 30. And then she had 4 children between the ages of 30 and 40. And this was in the 1940s.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was very odd that, she would be that old and have children. She was almost viewed to be an old maid. And then her husband was so abusive, especially when he came back from the war. He was a mess. And he abused her, he abused the kids. But she kind of allowed it. And she kept telling her daughters, we can't go against the men. How are we going to live if we don't have him?
Yeah, that's sacral chakra and the root chakra, sexual
Yes.
programming and the will to survive, because that's why those 2 chakras are so close together.
Yes, and my mother picked that up big time. My mother was her dad really abused her, and he even one time lost her. He was a gambler, and he lost her in a bet to a pedophile who was one of their neighbors.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he
gosh,
tried to get her to go.
that sexual abuse destroys the sacral chakra. It can be repaired. Anything could be healed. Anything could be overcome. But oh my goodness,
Yeah. No, it didn't happen. She ran and hid and locked herself in the attic, but he was banging on the door in the attic until he passed out. So that, it was just a
But
horrible upbringing.
she knew what would happen. So not only was her root chakra affected because she thought she was going to die, and she's fearful, and I'm sure she's angry as all get out, but then you have that sexual issue because now you feel sex is dirty, and you feel like, why am I being perceived like this? Why does he want to do this against my will? And that little sacral chakra just goes and just closes.
Yep. So my mother grew up hating men, but trying to seduce them at the same time in order to survive.
Oh my goodness, that is interesting.
Yes, and she taught me that. She was the biggest flirt I've ever met. Even when she was married to my dad, they're separated now. But when I was growing up, she would just be, had the full makeup on. She'd wear sexy clothes. She was like the Harper Valley PTA lady.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That was my mother.
Oh my goodness.
And women would talk behind her back and stuff, because she was really pretty. My mother was very pretty, very nice body. She would wear all the makeup and in the 60s or whatever, 70s, and sexy clothes, but she really hated men underneath it. And the only reason she did that was just because she felt like she wasn't worthy if she didn't have a man's affection, because her mother taught her that. And my great-grandmother taught my mother that, because they were all taught that down the line. And it stemmed partially from the Great Depression and the shock to the family and that went through that, but also just from the attitudes back then about you had to have a man, especially in the South. Women were very
yes.
Yeah, very, you're a woman, you act like you're polite, you're lovely, you're pretty, you're always pretty, and you always, speak properly, and you need to cook well, that's pretty much how.
Mind your manners and never speak up. Yes, I was raised Southern.
The South has a lot of wonderful things too. I
Oh, they
love the South
do.
actually, but
I'm
the way
from there,
yes,
both
the
of
way
my parents are, Southern, and so I know it's a whole different culture, and I know, and it has its its positive attributes, but it also has its very negative with the way what you're talking about, and all that landed on you right into your sacral chakra.
yeah, it came to my sacral
Holy
chakra.
crap!
So my mom taught me how to apply makeup when I was like 12, and I started wearing makeup to school in 8th grade and 7th grade maybe. But I was also in ballet, so I was in the city ballet when I was 12, so I always had to do the. She taught me the Egyptian makeup style. That's where I get it from now. I wear. I was also the 60s makeup, with the heavy eyeliner. Anyway. So, and she would never, ever, ever answer the door if she didn't have her makeup on, or she would not go to like get groceries or to the 7-Eleven or whatever if she didn't have her full makeup on. And that she was so insecure about being seen without makeup. She kept saying, I'm so ugly without makeup, but I'm so beautiful with it. And there was a big
Because she
difference in
didn't
how
know
she
who she
looked,
was.
but it's like I thought I actually, it's funny because sometimes I was relieved when I'd see her without makeup because she was just so much more nice and normal. And then when
Yeah,
I'd
she
see
was
her
her
with
real
makeup on,
self.
yes, she would be haughty and arrogant. She'd be like, "Hi, I'm ready.
That was her
Honey,
coping
are you coming
mechanism.
with me? We're going to be late." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's like she put on a mask and a whole different
Mhm.
personality when she had her
Yeah.
makeup on."
Yeah, women, we do that.
Yeah. And I picked that up too. For the longest time, I wasn't comfortable. I'm still not comfortable going out without makeup on. I mean, I will, and I'll be like, hi, just pretend like, but it still gets me a little bit. I'm like, I don't look my best because it's a
Oh.
power thing, and
Yeah.
I want people to like me, and I know they'll like me if I look pretty, and if I don't look pretty, then they're not going to like me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've really had to work really hard through that because my I was very close with my mother. I mean, she and I were a team because she had me when she was 22 years old, and my father was in the Vietnam War. So she and I were by ourselves together. Actually, we lived and we moved in with her mother, so it was me and her mother had the same issue, had to always wear makeup and never be seen without it. So I had both of those women as my, as my um, role models.
So
So,
how are you transmuting this? Because
well,
you're well balanced. What's your
yeah,
secret?
I've just I've been hit with a lot of things with a and I was kind of forced to transmute it in some ways, and I had issues myself with promiscuity when I was young, and I was actually, oh, here we go, I'm going to tell it. I was gang raped when I was 17 years old, and that when I was in college, because I went to a party. I shouldn't have gone to this party. There were not enough girls there. I went with two other girls from my dorm, but I was a freshman in college, and but they got me totally drunk, and before I knew it, bam. Ugh.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that woke me up, and I'm like, this sucks. I shouldn't have to flirt with all these men. What the heck? This is not what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to marry well, not get raped.
Right.
So a lot of times it kind of backfired on me. Which in a way, now that I look back, it was a blessing because it taught me that, yeah, when you act that way, you're going to get this as a response. You know, it's not good. That's an unhealthy behavior. It's not a
Well,
power. You're
it's
giving your
about,
power away.
yes. Well, and actually, you didn't get raped because you dressed a certain way. You got raped because men wanted to have power over you. You should be able to wear whatever you want and be creative with the manner in which you dress, and that's one thing. That's one of my kickers is you can't be sexy because you're asking for it. No, it's about power.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I've had issues with that my whole life, and I just have to men just God, it's gonna sound arrogant, but
No, it's
men just
true. Do you want
they
me to say it about you?
you can say it.
Okay.
I'm old, I'm 46,
She
but still,
she
I don't know what the heck.
Andrea just has this very self-confident, well-balanced sexual energy about her. It's very divine goddess, divine feminine energy. And when an unbalanced male picks up on that, they they poop on it basically, and they
Right.
destroy it, and they manipulate it, and they try to make it into something horrible. My best description for her is Mary Magdalene. She was a divine goddess, but they made her to be a whore.
Right.
And she just had Andrea just has this goddess energy that I've never felt. I've just never ever felt it before. And if she's around, you know, talking to a balanced male, it's fine. They honor it, they respect it, and they cherish it, and instinctively they know what they're talking to. But when she's around a man who's unbalanced, all they want to do is just dominate it and control it. And so, yeah, I mean, there's more women like you out there. You know, you're just the only one that I happen to know of.
Yeah, I've been hit on. I've been attacked. I lived in Japan. I went for my master's degree in international business studies in the 90s, and I lived in Japan for a while. Oh my God, I had men get into the phone booth with me while I was trying to talk to my parents at night, and all kinds of stuff. But you know what? I just over time, through through experience with this, I just learned to. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I don't hate these guys. I'm just gonna work through it and just try and break the spell a little bit.
And
And
what you did
I did
energetically,
have to beat a couple of them up, but
that's okay. But we're gonna jump a chakra ahead. When your solar plexus, your sun chakra, it's the color of the sun. That's your will. You know, that's like your power center, of your lower cauldron. And when you had all those men hitting on you, you didn't know how to set boundaries, and you didn't have the will and the power to say no. And once and you didn't even know this information then. I didn't know this information when I was a teenager either. But then as you naturally start to do that, and you start to control and take back your power in your solar plexus, your gut, then you can set your boundaries.
exactly. I felt guilty. Here's the guilt. Guilty saying no because I didn't feel like I was good enough to say no to these guys. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I'm like, oh, I didn't want to hurt
Yeah.
your feelings.
Yeah.
Because I
All
wanted to be people
sacral.
pleasing. It
All
was
sacral.
totally sacral.
And how
And
do
that
women
stemmed from my
please?
lovely mama. Yes,
Sex.
exactly. Yep,
That's one of the ways, you know.
exactly. Yeah, so finally I stepped in my power and I'm like, screw this. And it started to happen when I was in Japan. I lived by myself. I'm like, all right, enough of this. No, I'm not going to let you. And I would give them warnings. I didn't want to hurt them, but then eventually I have to take off the high heel and bonk them on the head. I'm like, all right, bye. Sorry.
Did it start to dissipate?
Yes.
Because
And
I know these stories, but the one thing that I never asked you is once you set your boundaries and you actually stepped in your divine feminine power and said no, how long did it take for you to see the decrease?
right away, I
Mm.
definitely got men respected me much more. I mean, it depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm in that sexy mood or whatever, and then I can drop. I drop a little bit and then I can bring it back. But if I just stand in my power and it's almost like the neutrality thing again. I'm not
Mhm.
super positive. I'm not super negative. I'm just kind of straightforward and just neutral, and it is what it is, and that's how I act, and they respond to me that way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's I really had to, for healing the sacral, I had to, what I did, I had to look at my mother, and look at her mother, and just understand what happened with them, why they felt that way, and realize how I was behaving. And I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Why am I giving in to these people? Sometimes when I was younger, I would have sex with guys I didn't even want to, but I would just let them, because I felt like I was
Yeah.
not worthy. That was just, or I didn't want to hurt their feelings.
Right.
So stupid. It's like the exact opposite you ever want to hear your daughter say. Um, Plus, my father wasn't around. He was off at war for 2 years, my first 2 years of my life. So I didn't have the strong daddy influence. It was like, don't you let those guys near you. I had my mother who was trying to people please and man please all the time, even though my mother never actually gave in to any man, or she would, but she just wanted to be appreciated by men. But I didn't understand that, and I took it a step further and actually slept with them when I was starting in my teenage years, which is way too young, because I didn't understand. I just copied that behavior.
So did you do forgiveness exercises or
Yes, yes,
what
yes.
kind?
It took me a long time to forgive my mother. I used to have nightmares about her. Oh, okay, this is kind of gross, but I used to have nightmares about her sleeping with my boyfriends, or her sleeping,
No, that's
like
actually normal for the sacral chakra. That is really,
yeah,
really normal. There's
yeah.
no shame in that. You're being very honest, and I appreciate you going
Yes, I
so
am.
deep into that. That though you're really helping a lot of people with your very bold honesty.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how did you what exercise did you do? Did you do a meditation?
Yes, I would usually, it's before I go to sleep, or because that's the only time I have. Sometimes I just go to bed early and I just sit, and I'm able to just think through things or feel through things and just reflect on everything and why is this happening to me, and then it would come back to my mother. I also talked to my sister. I have a younger sister as well, and she didn't get all the sexual issue. I mean, she started to, but then she pulled back and overcame it a lot faster, but she wasn't as close to our mother, as I was, and I picked up a lot more of my mother's issues than she did.
Well, did you talk to your mother in your head? Did you like
Yes, I did. I talked to my sister in person, and we talked about that, and that helped me. And I talked to my mother. I actually talked to her uh, in person too when I was when I was in college. We sat and talked about sex and things like that, and I told her how promiscuous I had been. I like threw it in her face.
but you
And
did that one with anger?
I I I'm like, mother, I did this and I did that, and why am I doing this? And da, 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 and why are you like this? And, da, da, da. And then she finally told me all this stuff that she had been through, and then it
Wow.
dis and I understood why she was always trying to please men and what had happened with her father. So that really helped me understanding that, and then I realized it was communication, and talking to the people involved actually helped me, and then also just taking time to reflect on what I had done, why I felt that way, and at the time, and what and I realized that the thread of behavior that started with my great grandmother, and probably before that, I just don't know,
Hmm.
great grandmother, grandmother, my mother, and then to me, and with my cousin passing away also, she had issues with men as well, and that's and her mother had got my aunt, who was also a child of that man, and my grandmother, um, she also had issues with her relationship and kind of had a breakdown with her husband. And
So did you ever verbally apologize, or not apologize, verbally forgive your mother, or did you do that in meditation?
I did it in meditation. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I need to do that in person. But yeah, and- but I
That
did.
would
I
be
forgive her. I
really good
forgive
for
her.
the, because you guys are in a good place. That,
Yeah.
just my little tuning in, that would be really good. And the reason why, I'm going to kind of segue a bit and use you as an example, but ancestral healing right now is very important because your body is your tool, but when you step into it, and especially right now, your some of your chakra issues, and I found this out. Once you start to clear your body, you're going to have things that come up that you might think, well, that's not really me, but it's in your ancestral line, and this occurs like what's occurring for Andrea after you've gone through your own stuff. Then you take your healing of your chakras a step further and you heal that ancestral line of your body. And
Right.
that's what you're doing.
Yes.
When you do this, and this might freak some people out, but it's true. It is that this information is 100% true. I've seen it. I've done it for myself. I've done it for this own, I'm a walk-in, but I'm still connected to this body. And I did it for my body. The other energies that have incarnated in your ancestral line, when you do the honor of clearing your chakras and taking it a step further and clearing the ancestral line that goes through your chakras, that soul, no matter where they are incarnated in, or if they're just existing as light, you bump them up in
Yes.
vibration. So, can you imagine the gift you can give to other souls that have incarnated in your ancestral line, that you share this DNA by clearing yourself and clearing that line? And that's what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's very, very powerful. Someone has to take the reins in
Yes.
and clear it, and it
And
does clear for everybody along the way.
And I really feel, because words create so much and they're so powerful, and your mom's very spiritual, very, very spiritual.
Yes, she is.
Um, and when you are with her face to face and you're looking in your eyes are the windows of the soul, that's your access to this whole line, and you forgive her on an energetic level, she's going to forgive her mother and it's going to bounce right down your line. Forgiveness is such a powerful vibration. Unconditional love and forgiveness, it just vibrates at a frequency that it's so close, it's so little, it vibrates so high, it's you feel it more than you can actually see it when you can see energies. It's how powerful it is.
Ah, that's so important because
Yeah.
my mother was taking care of her mother, you know, lived close to her in Florida and would go visit her all the time, like once a week, and just make sure she was okay and everything until she passed away. And my mother never really completely forgave her because she said she brought up the issues with her mother and her mother didn't remember, didn't she wasn't able to address any of it.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her mid 80s at that point too. And she's like, "What are you talking about? I don't remember that." Stuff that was so intense to my mother and passed on to me. Her mother didn't even remember it.
Yeah. Mm.
So it's just got to be forgiven. You can't depend on your parent admitting they were wrong
No.
either.
No.
That's
No.
key. You just have to
No.
forgive them anyway.
And
Forgive
by
them
and
anyway.
by forgiving your mother, you're going to heal a lot of distorted sexual programming that's been put through your whole line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like female slavery comes through
Yes.
my line, I feel.
Yeah,
Big
and
time.
and and you allow that to happen because you feel you're not good enough. And
Right.
and then when you allow it to happen because you feel that you're not good enough, then you feel guilty for it. And
Right.
then you are walking on eggshells. You're overly sensitive. You don't have any joy, and then you just
Exactly.
feel so trapped. So many people that are asleep in this planet on this planet, and the reason why we call them asleep is because they haven't evolved past their solar plexus. A lot of them will get up to their solar plexus and they have great will. They're all about will. It's
Okay.
unbalanced, but they at least can set really good boundaries, but they get stuck there
Right.
and they
Yes.
never move to the heart. So the majority of the people that we deal with, those of us on this call, you know what I'm talking about. Um, they aren't past their solar plexus, and even more of them are just stuck in the sacral chakra because you can just see how powerful that is and how much that controls when it's screwed up, and how easily it is and how early of an age this is put into us.
That's right.
And luckily I feel that we're raising the next generation differently.
Yes, I do too.
I really do. I really do. And with this new energy coming in, it's naturally clearing those things out. We get an extra help, and plus you can always call in your guides and the angelic kingdom, and that can help you clear out these issues. Now,
Okay.
you want to go over some of the things that occur when it is in balance, and kind of end this on a happy note.
Yes, that sounds good.
Because there's oils you can use. There's exercise. Dance is very good for your sacral.
And we
Women,
have the affirmations too.
yes, and the affirmations. I know from as a professional dancer and as a dance teacher, women, especially adult women, whenever I would teach an adult jazz class, women were afraid to move their hips. They were afraid to move their pelvis. And that's all
Yes.
negative sexual programming because
Right.
they feel gross and they feel dirty. When in fact, when you do that kind of movement, it stimulates it and it balances it. But we're so scared to move from the belly button down. Belly dancing is fabulous. Tribal
Right.
dancing, any kind of dancing, as long as you're moving your hips. Ballet for you, because that was my strongest as well, is not, because you're taught you have to keep your core strong, and
That's right.
you have to have in the proper ballet alignment. You don't move your hips. So,
Oh, I did have some belly
well, you
dancing.
did have belly
I was
dancing
there.
too.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to pass it over to you.
All right. So, signs that your sacral chakra is in balance. You have balanced hormones. You are joyful. You have a strong, healthy desire for what you want in life, and you have the ability to freely ask and receive. You feel like you're worthy to receive. So that's one thing with my mother. She's always like, I don't know why I don't have money. I don't have to, because she doesn't feel worthy to receive. I'm working with her on that.
Good.
You can be vulnerable, but also, feel safe and secure. Um, you you're able to freely express your creativity, easy and healthy creative expression. You have a healthy libido with pleasurable sex. There's no guilt or shame around sex, no feeling of dirty. You're It's easy for you to bear children. You don't have miscarriages. You can easily be the center of attention without shyness or the need to be the center of attention. You're balanced there. It's okay if you are, but it's okay if you're not. Um, you have a healthy weight. There's no weight gain associated with hormone imbalance. You're generous and giving while able to receive freely. And you're able to tend to your own needs and desires, but you can also help others, but you can help yourself too. Just like, I don't know if I said this last week, but like you put on with the airlines, you put your own oxygen mask on first before you help your neighbor or your
Mhm.
kids. Um, There's no need to bend over backwards to please other people. You don't need other people's approval. You're confident, healthy. You have healthy self-esteem as a man or a woman. You have balanced moods and emotions, and you have balanced boundaries. So you're not like overly careful, and have huge walls set up, and you're not overly open where you're just letting people walk all over you. So, and now let's do the affirmations. We are almost at our 2 hours.
And
It goes so
before
fast.
she goes over the affirmations, I recommend saying these in front of a mirror. And you might find it difficult at first, and that's okay. And if you cry, even better.
I can't tell you how wonderful it is to stare in that mirror. I mean, and not to just put on your makeup, but literally to look in the mirror. And I have done that just staring at myself. And I've kind of gone into an altered state of consciousness
Mm-hmm.
just looking in my
Oh,
eyes.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, it is cool.
And Bashar, and I love Bashar, and he uses this mirror analogy that I just have to say real quick. If you want to be happy, and you're looking in the mirror and you see an unhappy face, you're just in a bad mood, and your reflection is frowning at you. If you want to change your mood and be happy, you never reach into the reflection and try to turn your frown upside down by touching the mirror, because it isn't going to work. It's just a reflection of who you are inside. So so if you want to be happy, you have to go in and make your own happy from inside. You have to work on yourself, and then that is reflected back to you, which of course is reflected back in your reality. So I just have to say that because I just love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the affirmations that you want to say and speak them proudly, and stand and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am good enough. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am worth. I am more than good enough. I am perfect joy. I am creativity. I am strong enough to feel vulnerability, and I am comfortable as I am. I accept myself without condition. I know and I respect my own boundaries. I accept my masculinity. I accept my femininity. I am complete within myself. I love myself. I love everyone. I am love.
Wow, I'm glad you were reading those because I got really emotional listening to you read those. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tearing. Wow, that's powerful. I could just feel that in my sacral chakra.
Yeah, and
Wow.
you breathe into your sacral chakra just as you say that, and pay attention to that area of your body, to your sacral chakra, as you say those things and say them out loud. You breathe in, say those things, and breathe out, and just breathe out the stress and the tension, and just clear that area and start healing.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
hope.
TMI time with Andrea. Too much information. And
Hey.
you're like, don't listen to this week, my family.
Well,
You can listen to the next week.
I hope what we shared helps someone.
Yes, I hope so too. Yeah, I mean, it's just so freeing just to talk about it. Like, hey, this happened. It is what it is. I made mistakes. I experienced stuff that was yucky, but
You rose from the ashes,
yeah,
and that's what it's all about.
that's right.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on our second show,
Yes, thank you, everybody.
and I guess we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.